I'm just telling you, I think this is very unprofessional. We were supposed to film yesterday, and look at my payment. It's $1 short. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, Brian Hines, the Last Angry Geek. And yes, I know I'm a little late on this one, but for better or worse, here's my vlog review of the Ant-Man and Wasp, the sequel to Ant-Man. To put this in terms of a review via Douglas Adams' book titles, mostly harmless. I enjoyed it. It's a fun film, but it feels inconsequential. It's not the film I would have followed that ending in Infinity War with. It just feels so small after such a big movie that left on a cliffhanger. But let's break it down with the cast. Let's start with Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang, the Ant-Man. Of course, he's good. He's funny, especially with the magic stuff. You know, when I had to learn how to do card tricks. You know, that stuff's very funny. When he gets possessed by Janet, that's very funny. So the humor's there. Like I said, I laughed at this film. This was enjoyable. That said, the heavier stuff was not there. Like, I didn't really feel like the relationship with the Pyms was explored enough. We jump from the end of the last Ant-Man to this movie. We mentioned what happened in Civil War. And because of the events of Civil War, Scott has not seen the Pyms since like the end of the last film. So there's a lot of tension there, and I don't feel like it's really explored or resolved beyond we're all just working towards one goal, and it kind of just, the tension just kind of evaporates. It's never really dealt with as much as I would have liked. It's like the Pyms start out angry at him, then, okay, we're still peeved at you, then, okay, we're all on the same page again. There's never any moment of forgiveness towards Scott from the Pyms, and I felt like that's what was missing in that relationship. I mean, he spends most of the movie saying, I gotta go, because he's under house arrest and he has to get back or he's gonna lose his daughter again. In fact, I felt like the scenes with Cassie were probably the best scenes in the entire film. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And also, I think the biggest problem with this is it's called the Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I don't feel like the relationship with Hope got to where it needed to be. It's like it just broke off cold at the end of the last movie, and they're trying to resume here, but they never felt like partners. They felt like two people who could shrink and go on an adventure together. I didn't feel like the chemistry with Evangeline Lilly is there. And I don't necessarily think that's Paul Rudd's fault, or I don't think it's Evangeline Lilly's fault. I just felt like the script chose not to get too deep into these characters, and I think that's always a mistake in comedy. You gotta have the real moments to make the funny moments work. I giggled, I laughed, there was funny stuff, but it was never like, I was never that invested in what was going on in this film. Evangeline Lilly is back as Hope Van Dyne, and this time she is the Wasp, as we saw in the teaser at the end of the last film. And I was disappointed, because I felt like the character was really underwritten, and a big problem was she was just the Wasp. There's no first moment of putting the suit on, there's no training montage, but I know we did that in the last film with Scott, but I kind of felt like we needed that with Hope so we could get into her being the Wasp. She just starts out with that one scene where she goes to make the deal with the tech criminals, and then she just shrinks down and she's kicking ass. And like, we knew she could fight from the last film, but I kind of felt like there needed to be some learning curve with the shrinking technology. And okay, because of the time jump between the two films, she's had all this time to train. So, I mean, logically it worked, but I felt like we, the audience, weren't as invested in Hope as the Wasp because we didn't go through that training with her. We just had to accept that here she is, fully formed and perfect, we're going forward. And as I've mentioned, the character's relationship with Scott was mostly just kind of either being, I'm really angry at you, but I'm not going to show it, to, oh, I'm really in love with you, but I'm not going to show it. You know, it's like she was holding back on emotions. And again, that's how they've written the Hope character. She's not terribly expressive with her feelings, but it was hard to get behind Hope when she was holding so much back, and we had not been on this journey to becoming the Wasp with her. Michael Douglas was back. He probably got the second most laughs behind Paul Rudd because he had the grumpy old man stuff to fall back on. And again, we're kind of dealing with one of his mistakes. I fired this guy, but so he went into business for himself, and it nearly ruined his daughter. And I take no responsibility for that because I got to get my wife out. I can't worry about this girl who's dying when I could rescue my wife who's been missing for 30 years. It's like, you know, it wouldn't have hurt for him to show some compassion for Ghost. The most we get out of him is like, I'll fix her when I get back, but first I gotta get my wife. Like, okay, we get it, but You know, you're a hero. You're someone who needs help. You're supposed to help them. And I also felt like the antagonism between him and Bill Foster wasn't handled right. I mean, they just seemed like barely disinterested in each other with a little bit of, but you, that's like it. I mean, it should have been a little more intense, I felt. But, again, that's me. Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm not sure we needed a Michelle Pfeiffer for this role. Although, then again, maybe Michelle Pfeiffer isn't as big a marquee name as she once was, like back in the 90s, you know. She was fine. I felt like the magic powers from the microverse at the end was a little too Deus Ex Machina, a little too easy, a little too pat. Here, I've fixed everything because I've got 30 years of microscopic powers built up. I mean, I'm not really sure what the hell was going on there. Nor do I think the chemistry was there with Michael Douglas, the same complaint I had with their younger counterparts. But again, a lot, if not all of these characters were incredibly underwritten. Ghost, the villain played by Hannah John Kamen, was a huge letdown. Now, in the comics, the Ghost is a man, and he's kind of like an anarchist and into corporate espionage. They changed it, so she still had that aspect to her, but she was now a damaged person that S.H.I.E.L.D. created and took no responsibility for. She's dying, and it just felt like I don't know that this character needed my sympathy for this story, because the fact that they don't seem to want to help her makes the heroes look bad. Here's my idea to fix it. She can still be a woman. That was never my problem. Keep the corporate espionage thing. She's going around stealing stuff. Maybe she steals a piece of tech that they need. I mean, she does do that in this film, but she does it because she needs it. Just make it because she's greedy and she's going to sell it somewhere. Those bad guys call her to get it back. Or, better yet, they need her phasing technology or ability to rescue Janet. So then they set up Hank's tech to draw her out to steal it so they can steal her tech. You know, make it a whole go-around thing. Huh? I don't know why she needed another scientist to be her father. Make Bill Foster her father. That works. Unless they wanted to earn sympathy points for her by being an orphan. And again, I don't feel like I needed to be sympathetic to this character. I didn't feel like my sympathy towards her added anything other than making the heroes look bad. The other bad guys in this, those criminals, they're not worth mentioning. Although I did have fun with the truth serum scene. That was where everyone's going back and forth on truth serum. That was funny. Speaking of Luis, again played by Michael Pena and his two buddies, I felt, again, the underwritten problem with this movie. Those two guys did nothing. They were great in the last film, but here they weren't really adding anything. They were just kind of backing him up in like the big truth serum scene. You needed all the different parties chiming in, but other than that, they didn't really do anything except tase some guys at the end. Michael Pena's character, again, he has that great boom, boom, where he does that, where he goes into his flashbacks and he's talking through the people. That was hilarious. Again, I'm glad they only did it once. It could have gotten overdone if they'd done it, more than that. We did it twice last time. I'm glad they brought it up for this. It's kind of become a signature piece for these films. Somebody mentioned they should bring him back for Avengers Infinity War 2 and just have him do the flashback recap. That would be hilarious. So he's funny with his stuff, but it felt like we didn't need the other two guys from X-Con. So Bill Foster, played by Lawrence Fishburne. Oh, hi, Perry. He was fine, but again, I didn't feel like the emotions were there. His antagonism with Hank Pym was like so mild, Yeah, we're kind of peeved at each other, but it's no big deal. But then he steals his life work, but then he steals it back, and it's like, she needs help, she's dying. Oh, I'll take care of it. Oh, okay. It's like, are you guys enemies or not? Are you using him or not? I mean, there was not enough pure villainy in this film. We needed better villains. I know we just had Thanos, and you're not going to top that, but we needed better than Ghost and Bill Foster. I keep coming back to this. This film was funny, but it was not dramatic. Cassie Lang, again played by Abby Ryder Fortson. She is the best damn supporting character in this film. Every time she was on screen, I believed it. She's funny with Scott. Your heart breaks a little bit in that moment where she says, I want to be your partner. And he kind of laughs at her. And she's like, don't laugh at me. I'd be good. Oh, honey, of course you would. I just can't let you do that because I'm your dad and you could get hurt, I got more emotion out of her than I got with all the rest of the supporting cast put together. She was good. The scenes with her and Scott are the best scenes in the film. So, there's that at least. Jimmy Woo, played by Randall Park, he was another good comedy supporting character. Maybe having him in that role took away from the XCOM guys, but you got to go where the script takes you, I guess. He was really funny in that kind of, I'm a little oblivious to what's going on. I'm a little too honest with you, even though I don't trust you. Like, Scott and I are friends, but I should be keeping you at arm's length. There was that kind of casual personal relationship he had with Scott when he should be more, I'm going to get you, but we're still friends, right? That stuff. That was funny. So Randall Park was one of the better additions to the cast. So yes, I like this film. Go see it, but it's not a great movie. It's another in a long line of okay Marvel films, and not the one I would have followed Avengers Infinity War with. But goddamn, that mid-credit sequence was like, oh no. At the end, Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, and then a question mark appears. Like, you bastards, I didn't need that. 3 out of 5 stars. Go see it. You'll like it. You don't need to see it again. Thank you for your patience. I was at a convention last week with some of my friends. That Lamp Guy was there. That's why I couldn't go out and see the film and do this vlog then. I thank you for your patience and for watching this, even though it's a week late. Until next time, my friends, this is Comic Book Issues, and I'm your host, Brian Hines, the Last Angry Geek.